In the early 80s, the Atari 2600 rose in popularity mostly thanks to arcade conversions like Asteroids, Centipede, Missile Command, and Space Invaders. Later in the system's life, however, some surprising arcade ports were created after its status as the #1 home game console was surpassed by Nintendo. No one thought games like these were possible on a system that was originally designed for playing Breakout and Pong-style games. Whenever I show these games to my friends, they can't believe they even exist. So here are 5 surprising arcade ports for the Atari 2600. First, let's start with Commando, which was created in 1985 by Capcom. You play as Super Joe, whose mission it is to collect grenades, free prisoners, defeat the enemy, and reach the top of the screen to defeat an officer. At your disposal are unlimited machine gun bullets and powerful hand grenades. Should you complete all the stages, the game repeats and your score grows. The Atari 2600 port by Activision is graphically limited, but it's a faithful conversion of the arcade game. The movement is a little slower and the graphics are a little bigger, but that doesn't detract from the fun. One problem is that there's only one button for shooting, so to launch a grenade you must hold down the button for a moment. Other than that, enjoy the graphics of this surprising arcade port. Our next game is Double Dragon, which was first released in 1987 by Technos. It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you play as Billy, or Jimmy, who must rescue their girlfriend, Marion. As far as who's her boyfriend, I'm not really sure. In the game, you punch, kick, and jump your way through 4 stages to defeat the Black Warrior gang, including Willie, Williams, Linda, and the gigantic Abobo. As for the Atari 2600 version, also by Activision, it's not great, but it is still surprising that it exists on this platform. Controls are difficult with only the joystick and one button. Pressing up and the button will jump kick, but you have to time it just right or you'll simply move up. To kick, you must press diagonally left or right and press a button. It's a challenge for sure, but it's still amazing to me that this game exists with different stages and backgrounds. An interesting game for the 2600, and really, really freaking hard. Next is Ikari Warriors by SNK, which was released in 1987. While somewhat similar to Commando, it has a few differences. In it, you play as Ralph, the red guy, or Clark, the blue guy, whose goal it is to reach the village of Ikari. Soldiers, helicopters, and tanks stand in your way. The arcade game had a unique controller which could twist, allowing the player to shoot in one direction while moving in the other. Another cool feature was the ability to enter tanks, which lasted for a few moments. Frankly, I've never figured out how to flee from an exploding tank. Once again, the in-house Atari-developed version for the Atari 2600 is graphically and controller limited. But it's incredible that this is a 2-player simultaneous game where you can also jump in a tank and cause a lot of mayhem. To shoot, simply press the button. To throw a grenade, hold down the button. In addition, there are the same enemy soldiers, tanks, helicopters from the arcade, as well as a variety of terrains like jungle, water, and bridges. Our next game is Rampage, which is a 3-player simultaneous game developed by Midway in 1986. In it, you play as the gigantic characters of George the Ape, Lizzie the Lizard, or Ralph the Wolf, who are angry for some reason. They start smashing buildings, tanks, all while avoiding fire and eating humans. There's only one goal of the game: destroy everything and move on to the next stage. If you take too much damage, you shrink down into your human form and sulk off in shame. The Atari 2600 version was again developed by Activision. It's incredible to me that all three characters are represented here and can be played by two players simultaneously. Graphically, it isn't amazing. The buildings look like little more than pink rectangles, but I was amazed that it had animated helicopters flying in the background. To punch, you press the button, and to jump, you press the button without moving the joystick. I suppose that makes it easier to remember, but it's certainly harder to control. Last but certainly not least is the Midway developed game called Xenophobe, created in 1988. In this three-player simultaneous game, you play as an alien hunter who's been tasked with cleaning out the aliens from ships, planets, and space stations. Clearly inspired by the Alien movies, there are different forms of creatures to destroy over multiple screens. You have a variety of weapons available, including the phaser, bombs, laser pistol, lightning rifle, grenades, and, as a last resort, your fists. You must clear the stage before the timer runs out in order to escape. The Atari 2600 port was developed by Atari, and it's surprisingly good. It features two-player split-screen action with multiple aliens, weapons, and screens. It even includes the cutscene where your ship appears on the scene before beaming you over. Despite the graphical limitations, it's an incredible port of the game, and one that I find actually more fun than the arcade original. So there you have it, 5 surprising arcade ports for the Atari 2600. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. That way you'll be notified when I make a future video. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.